Hi, this is Jennifer Billig again from the ARC of PA and in the Include Me program, and I'm here with
Celia Morrison, also with the ARC of PA and the Include Me School Age program.
We are going to go over today the Google Classroom that your student or you, if you're an adult, are going to be part of to do the book study for Out of My Mind, written by Mrs. Sharon Draper. You can also find a video that we've already posted about the overview of that book and what this book study is really all about. Celia, do you have anything you want to say before we move on and I show you about the classroom?
I'm excited to see it, but before I play the role of a student who hasn't seen it, I just wanted to say that I was excited to do this with Jennifer because I've gotten to see how much depth she's put into the Google Classroom. So I want students and paras and whoever might be interested in the book study to know just how much there is in this book study. This isn't going to be Jennifer, as wonderful and charming as she is, with 2 slides just kind of talking at you. There's so much inside this Google Classroom, and it's all work Jennifer's done. So I wanted everybody else to be able to see that through these videos.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to start by presenting the Google Classroom. So we'll start there. Can you see this?
I can.
So this is our Google Classroom. And this is where I will invite you if you sign up for the class. And this is my Memoji. I really like her. I will share her all over the place. And this stream here is where any announcements would come in. I'll probably post the Google Meet link in here and keep it boosted to the top of the page if you can't find it or you can't remember. And anything new I post will come up here on the stream. However, it will also be under the classwork. So the first thing that is here is classroom information. So I have classroom etiquette is a slide just to kind of go over, I called it classroom etiquette because nobody really likes rules. But we want to be respectful of each other's opinions, not be judgmental. We want to be on time, prepared, quiet location. That being said, my very first class I taught with my daughter sitting next to me crying because she broke her iPad. So I understand that sometimes things happen. So, and then I have my contact information, which I am not going to give to everybody at this moment. So what I do want all of the students to do for me, though, is to fill out an all about me, which I will assign as you are into the classroom. But I also want you to know about me. So I have put together a little presentation of myself. I would love to have a purple living room, but I don't. But if you click on this, you can learn more about me. I like to doodle. I like essential oils. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you can learn a little bit about me. And then what I'd like you to do is tell me a little bit about yourself. And it's just a series of slides. Oops, did I stop sharing?
You did. It's okay.
Share this instead. It's just a couple slides, and all you have to do is click on the text box and fill it in and give me some information about, your favorite things, where you work, where you live, your county. I don't need your address. So I have this broken up as assignments. And so actually I can show you real quick. I didn't realize it was, oh no. Can I show you? I'm not technically a student in here, so no, I cannot show you that.
But you'll see it if you register.
If you register, you'll see it. And it's what I just said about asking, telling the information. So then if we skip down here, I have a test your photographic memory because, again, the student has a photographic memory. And so I created a memory game that is very, very difficult because it's all red fruit and vegetables. Just to see, because if you had a photographic memory, you'd get it instantly, right? but it'll take a while. Again, the classroom information, and then the supplementary materials. So this is in here for everybody to look at. It's not assigned, it's just in here under supplementary materials. You can come back to it anytime you want. We went over the overview in a previous recording. So I'm going to start here today, Celia, with the vocabulary, which is broken up. Now, I want to stop and just say one thing. When you go to do these, they'll come up on your screen like this. And all we have to do is hit present, and then you can skip around as necessary. So if we are reading chapter 6, you can click on chapter 6, and you could get information about some of the words that were in that chapter. So bogged. If you click on bog, it'll come down in its original form. Cause to slow down or get stuck. And then we talk about the sentence that it was used in the book. Oh, gag me, Mrs. V said, startling him. Don't get bogged down by all those touchy-feely words and phrases you read in books on disabled kids. And then every word has something to think about it. Something to think about. So I kind of went along with the book here and like, what do you think that means? So as the kids read the book, they're going to get information in the book study, but then there's also, I think my computer has a mind of its own here. There's also information in the vocab words as well. So this word is symphony. When they talk about the kind of music that mom and dad like, and it clicks out if you have never heard a symphony to a Beethoven symphony, so you can kind of get an idea of what mom likes to listen to.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so that is there to come to anytime. We're going to go over the vocabulary words because maybe there's a vocabulary word that I didn't put in there that should be. So that's also an option. I'm happy to add. It was a lot of fun to create. And then the other part in the supplementary materials is the character study. So this is a slideshow. That will present all of the characters. Now, if you haven't read the book or seen it yet, the purpose of all the fish bowls is the cover of the book. Actually, I think it's right here, is a fish jumping out of a bowl. So I went with that theme. So every fish bowl has a person. So we can click on Melody and we can learn about Melody. And this is the slide, and this is the character that I put in the book in my mind. But in your mind, Melody might look completely different. But it'll tell you a little bit about her and different things, that she's brave. She's funny. She wants people to see her for who she is. I would also add that she's witty. Don't you think, Celia?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, the more I read this, the more I learn as well. So, yeah, you can see her, and then you can go home and click on somebody else. So here's the doctor that saw her, who was aptly named Dr. Hughley, and was also, as she described him, very fat with his gut protruding over his pants. So I was able to find a great picture on Google Images for that one. So it'll go through and tell you about each character in the book. So that is there as well.
Reference. So if you ever get lost from week to week, it's a nice reference to be able to come back and remind yourself of who the characters are.
Yes, and so like if I were talking and you were like, oh my goodness, I don't remember who Mr. Dimming was, you can click on that and it'll come up and tell you a little bit about him. He was her 5th grade history teacher. So that is the Google Classroom and the supplementary material. And as I put more information in here, it'll show up. Also to the side, you can click on each one to see what your assignments are. They will be assigned to you. And also, when you are finished, if it were here for me, but again, I'm not a student in the classroom, I would just hit, it would be turned in. I would hit turn in, and then it would go right to me. Because I do have some projects, that are totally optional, but would be really, really fun. I wasn't showing you the tab. Celia, do you think it's okay to tell them about a project?
I think that'd be great.
So one of them is, and I won't show you right now, so I'm going to put it back so that Celia and I can be chatting again. We talk about friendship. And in the book, Melody's very happy to have a friend, finally, when they start to practice inclusion. So there is a great website and Facebook page, Special Books for Special Kids. And I cannot remember his name, but he travels around the world, not at this current time, but he travels around the world and he talks to people and he videotapes it. And it's really about learning about other people and you know, their differences and their sameness and how everybody just wants to belong and have friendships. So I have some of those recordings that I picked out, and I wanted the students to kind of watch them and how can you be friends with the person on the video? The person on the video uses an assistive communication device. How will you be friends with that person? If that person does not and is not going to speak in spoken language back to you, how can you still be friends with that person? Because there's always a way for that to happen.
And Jennifer, I remember that one of the questions was like, tell me something about the person in the video that isn't their diagnosis. And I thought that was a good way to kind of skip the initial response to maybe seeing someone who doesn't look like you or doesn't speak the same way you do. I thought just a simple question, but if I were a student, and since I was a student at the time, I just thought that was a wonderful way in.
Yes, there is, because there's more to people, right, than what's on the surface for anybody. So, and one of the other activities that we'll do together in the class is spot the similarities instead of spot the differences. Those are fun to do, but we're going to do one, and it's spot the similarities, so we can see how we are alike. I mean, we like our differences and we like to be unique, but we're also, you know, we want to be together and we have a lot of things that are similar. As Celia and I just found out when I was showing her my All About Me.
Yes, indeed.
So this book study is going to help, you know, our world become more inclusive and get closer and closer to that end.
Right. So for the adults, it's kind of like, well, it's professional development in that the book is a wonderful learning opportunity for both kids and adults, I think. It's also like a great example for, as I mentioned in the last video, kind of multiple ways of presenting material, I think. So there's a lot that a professional could get out of the adult book study. And community, because you have like a weekly group of people who will be joining you on webcam to talk about this charming book. So
there'll be a lot of sharing too, like what people are doing in Pittsburgh is not going to be the same as what people are doing in Bradford County or in Philadelphia or in the middle of the state. And we can get some, you know, some information from all different parts of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to learn from each other. And the same goes for the student book study. But one thing that we ended up having to clarify, I remember, Jennifer, when we started advertising last time on Facebook and with libraries, that this is not a book study that is for specifically students with disabilities, right? So
correct. It's for peers.
It's for peers. It's an opportunity to address stigma without it being like without every moment being a teachable moment. It's like a place to explore information about living with disabilities and about being a friend to people with disabilities. So it's not specifically for kids with disabilities. Of course, you'll welcome anybody who signs up. It's an inclusive setting. But that's just something I wanted to note for folks too.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a place where I will respect everyone's opinion. And it's a learning place, and feelings are feelings. And so, but I also expect everybody to be respectful while we're in here and we're talking. But I think everybody actually, I have a bumper sticker and it's Mr. Rogers. And I think it says every human being has value. So I'm a big Mr. Rogers fan. For some reason, it's not on my All About Me, but anyway, you'll find his quotes throughout my slides. So if you want to do the class, you need to go to www.includemepa.org to register. There are 2 registrations, one for the adults that starts this Wednesday, and then the students will start March 17th, I believe is the date.
Right, and these are evening classes from week to week, right?
Children are Wednesdays at 6, and the adults are Wednesdays at 7.
Nice.
And we will be back again after a bit with a live video to kind of go through some of the chapters in the book. So look for that. Thank you.